Hello everyone, Danusha here. Today I bring you my conversation with Emma Sayle, founder of a global community, Killing Kittens, empowering women to explore their sexuality and challenge societal norms. We'll get into everything from female empowerment and motherhood to the importance of self-care and partnership. Oh, and we explore the power of saying fuck it and living life on our own terms. Here we go. Welcome to the show, Emma.
Thanks for having me on.
Tell us about Killing Kittens.
I launched it in 2005 and it came from kind of this sort of anger I had in me about a very imbalanced society where, men could be sluts and high fives and the legends. But if a girl had a one night stand, then she sort of was embarrassed about it and, wouldn't tell friends. And if, she did, if people found out about it, then sort of slut shamed. And I just felt that the whole adult world was run by men and it was just sort of very patriarchal society around me. And it just it didn't sit well and it kind of grew and grew. And then I just went, okay, again, fuck it. I'm going to launch something that I want something that stands for, just it's all about females and females being able to explore their sexuality in a safe and controlled and comfortable environment without any fear of in the name Killing Kittens, which it was what it means. And it's cyber slang for every time you masturbate, God kills a kitten. So you're killing kittens, you're wanking. For some bizarre reason, I think it was sleep deprivation. Went, right, that's it. I'm going to call it Killing Kittens. And I like the 2K. So it was KK from day one. And that's how it started. So it started as one party a month. And it was underground parties that were masked. And it was for couples and girls. So every man had to be accompanied by a girl, but single girls could come on. We had rules, like the rules of Fight Club. And the main rule is, and it still continues now, that men can't approach women they don't know. They have to wait to be approached by the women. So it's very much women in control. And the whole platform is sort of a big online dating community site. And that we're now considered a tech business because actually over 50% of our revenue comes from the online side of the business.
It's huge, isn't it? It must have extended and expanded well beyond what you thought at the time when you were pissed off with the patriarchy.
I knew when I launched it, it'd be controversial and I'd get abused, but I thought and hope that, one day that just as society evolves and changes, that it would be something that sort of was socially acceptable and became a bit more mainstream. And that's what's happened. It has become a lot more mainstream, a lot more acceptable, and people tell everyone about going to KK parties and what they got up to. And, a decade ago, there's no way in hell people would admit to friends what they did.
I saw a magnificent piece that you put on, which was, about this guy who'd been in a relationship with you, but decided that, you weren't the right woman for him because you didn't think that you would be great as a mother, given what you're doing. So what was that about?
But it was early days of KK and he, and he started having these conversations about, when we have children, you can't really be a mother and do what you do. And, what are you going to say to your kid about what you do for a living? And I remember saying very clearly, and when asked, I got asked a lot by media back then and stuff. It's like, when you have children, what would you say you do and stuff? Or you have a problem with that? And I remember saying, I'd like to think that if and when I do have children, that the world will have changed and society would have changed, that actually it's socially acceptable. But
it's not the only thing you do, is it? You do some adventurous explorations and charity things. And
so no, I've been running a thing called the Sisterhood since basically it's the time I launched Killing Kittens. It's kind of the yin to my yang, and it's a big group of girls, and we do loads of crazy sports events all over the world, races for various women and children's charities. So everything I do is all about women, but everything I do never excludes men. There's never this man bashing, us and them thing. I think it's really important in society, as it is and how we're going, that actually it's teamwork and it's working together and being partners and being aware of, the different skill sets different sexes can bring, and a bit like a marriage, really.
How do you keep your ability to actually do everything that you do? What's the trick here? Because you're obviously prolific in so many ways. And now you've added in kids as well, which is huge in itself, isn't it?
I always say it's down to teamwork. I have spent so much energy and effort in building up teams around me in every aspect. So I have an amazing team, Killing Kittens team, so if I went away for a month with no communication, then the business would carry on. The delegation I think is the key word, that allow and get it, and relinquishing control. So not trying to have control of 100% of every aspect of my life. I trust a lot of different people in all the different aspects of my life to, to look after my kids, to look after my business, to look after, my sanity. And I don't try and do it all myself. And that's the only way you can do it and have it all.
What's your advice to women who, because I often get this question when they say, look, I'd love to have a husband, partner who actually wants to really lean in and be a parent like I am and do those night feeds, do those nappies, do the whatever, as well as have his own career, just like we have. What do you say? Because it's a fascinating one, isn't it? Because you're in the business of educating, aren't you? I mean,
Yeah.
a lot of what you do is educating people and, rewriting narratives about what's possible for women. And this relates also to this experience, this partnership issue of, well, you educate them. So what would you say to women?
I'd say you have to ask. I mean, I think, the natural male instinct is not to exactly be proactive on this front, but they will do it if you ask them. And, if you say, when we had our third child, I turned around to my husband and said, look, I'm going to need your help. And you're going to have to work one day a week from home to have the childcare. And I said, which day would work for you? And he works from home on Tuesdays. But I asked and said, you're going to need to do that. And that's it. And so, I've asked him to do stuff. And because I haven't been able, had maternity leave, I think if you go on maternity leave and that's all you got, that's what you're doing for 6 months or even 3 months is you're at home looking after the baby, then actually you're going to have to do more of the share of the baby stuff if he's working hours and stuff. That I think, but again, I know friends who have asked, have got had a specific night. So, or 2 nights, said, look, just 2 nights a week, you pick the night. Could you be the ones that do the night feed?
What would you have done if he said, no, I can't?
I don't think I would have married him in the first place. I think I knew he would, because that's just the sort of man that he is. And well, if he'd said I can't, I would have said, well, you're going to have to. You're going to have to, because it's not fair. And if I'm going to be paying half the bills in this house, because we do pretty much split it 50-50, then it's only fair that, all the baby rolls are 50-50.
You've kind of got the nub there, haven't you? Which is when we have economic power, we have leverage, we have some influencing, don't we? We can actually have some power
Yeah.
to make changes and to demand and argue and stand for what we need when we
Yeah.
won't have that and we've given up our finances. Then I think for many women, they're stuffed.
It's tricky. They're stuck and it's stuck, and it's hard to have an argument when it's sort of, well, they're out working and that's their job and they're bringing the men, bringing the money and bringing home the bacon kind of thing. And it's up to you to look after the bacon. Therefore, why should they do 50% of, or help out and do more of the night fees and stuff like that when that they see it, they'll bring back home the bacon, you look after the bacon. It kind of, that's your job, is how a lot of men would look at it like that, and a lot of women would look at it like that. Part of me thinks that, if you are a stay-at-home mother, which is an incredibly knackering job. I mean, I literally have so much respect for anyone that could be a stay-at-home mother, because I find going to work my holiday and relaxing after a weekend of having kids to the face. So utter respect on that front. But, that is part of your job. At home is the home and the kids. So it would be then tricky to turn around and say, well, I want you to do some of my job. Just ask. So even if it's just getting like one night off. But I think a lot of women are scared to ask. They don't want to ask. And then they'll bitch and they'll rant and he doesn't do anything. And I often go, well, have you actually asked him? And so it's sort of that bit of a kind of victim savior kind of thing that, that women have for a lot more than men. And it does a bit, because you get women coming who have come out of or coming along in relationships, and then you see them single, a few months later, and they say that KK's made them realize that actually they were putting up with shit, and their guy was really controlling, and it was sort of all about him, and et cetera, et cetera. So it's kind of taking back that power and having that partnership where you feel like you can, you can ask and you want to rebalance your relationship, and it's not all about the guy, and actually having that self-respect and self-awareness to know what makes you tick. And you've got to be, I think as a mum, you do have to be selfish a bit and keep your identity.
It's really vital if we don't learn to stand for what we want quite early. It's really difficult in many relationships to learn that.
You'll be stuck in sort of the longer you leave it, then it's worse. And and that's something that might have been really becomes a big stone. And, whereas if you go, me and my husband, I'll just snap, but 5 minutes later we're fine. But if I don't say anything, then I know I'll bottle it up and bottle it up. And then you have this explosion. And I know loads of girlfriends like that who sort of bottle. And then they have this almighty fallout and everything comes out. And they're naming about 20 different incidents. And it's sort of no wonder the man then just gets angry and defensive because you're suddenly on the attack. Whereas if you kind of are, as soon as one incident happens, you go, that's really fucked me off. And you've addressed it, you move on. Right? We'll snap. And then 10 minutes later, we're totally fine.
Yeah, exactly. And also that the killer for a romantic and sexual, sensual relationship, isn't it? Because all that backed up anger and livid, resentment from whichever side it is, actually, it massively affects ability to be vulnerable and playful and, kind of open your experience. So I think it's really good. And of course, if we haven't learned that before we become mothers, then once we become mothers, it's so busy that how do you fit in this kind of new training module?
Also, we don't allow time for ourselves. And that's quite a big, female thing, actually. You got to be a bit selfish and go, and again, I'll show the half and just say, do you know what? I'm going out. I want to go out with my girls on, whatever night, Friday night, or drink, or you're on your own parenting Saturday morning because I just need to take myself off the gym for like 4 hours, even if sort of you've actually got to say it and ask for it and do it and not feel bad for doing it. I mean, they do it enough, you guys.
Well, no one gets awards for being a bit impartial, do they?
No, exactly. The only person you're hurting is yourself. That's your.
Mm-hmm. And then we teach our children also that that's the model of being a woman, to be this martyr who's actually quite angry and doesn't get to herself.
And with that more. Yeah.
Yeah, and resentful and barbed. Because the thing is, when we're unfulfilled in ourselves, it would be nice if it didn't affect our children. But actually, in the end, many women, I think, do begin to be quite barbed with their own kids who then are quite happy because you're providing a happy life for them, hopefully. So it's actually, I love the way you're saying about being selfish. It is one of those taboos for women, particularly mothers. The idea of being selfish, to actually be self-focused. I'm beginning to call it self-full, so full of self.
Yeah.
And actually to say, I need it and I must have it and I'm going to take it. I'm going to do that.
Yeah, exactly. And you'll be a better wife, you'll be a better partner, a better mother for it. And that's the thing. So you're not being, yes, it's being selfish, but actually it's sort of, you're then being a better, giving them more by having that, if that makes sense. You make time, you make it happen, and only you can do that. So you can have all the excuses in the world you want, but at the end of the day, you can do it, and you can do it all.
It's in your hands. Thank you so much, Emma. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Thanks for having me on.
I really hope you found the conversation interesting. I really do. I mean, Emma's story is testament to the power of self-advocacy and, of course, focused female empowerment. Till next time, keep thinking and loving. Take care, everyone.